6:30, we'll call the tax rate hearing to order. The first item is the approval of the agenda. I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Second item on the agenda is the setting of tax rate.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Good evening.
It's nice to see you all again in such a wonderful building. Just to review some information before we get started on the tax rate. All school monies must be accounted for within a framework of 4 funds. We're going to come back to Fund 1. Fund 2 is the Special Revenue Teachers Fund. That's where teacher salaries, teachers' benefits, and tuition payments come out of. Fund 3 is our Debt Service Fund. Long-term debt payments come out of that fund. And then Fund 4 is our Capital Projects Fund, facility acquisition, construction, lease purchase, principal, and interest. And then everything else outside of what I just mentioned is included in Fund 1. So Fund 1 is really the basic operations of the school, what students need, what teachers need, all the materials and supplies come out of Fund 1. We posted legal notice of the tax rate hearing on the district website, district office, each school building, the courthouse, city hall, and the community center. And then I'm going to blow up some sections of that posting. This is the information from last year as well as this year. If you look at the assessed valuation, which is in bold there, we go from $887.2 million to $953.6 million of assessed valuation in our county. The thing to note here also is new construction for the past 2 years has been somewhere in the neighborhood of $9 million. This year, that really went up to $22.9 million. So almost $23 million in new construction. That tells me it's coming back. It's not any cheaper, but it's coming back a little bit. And then a breakdown, prior year to current year. Now keep in mind, I have in red there, this is a 100% collection rate. So we're going to talk about what our percentage actually is and why in just a minute. But last year, the proposed 100% amount that we would have collected would have been just over 30 million. And then this year it would be 32.5 million roughly. So if we look at the general fund over the past 3 years and then what's proposed for this year, you'll see that we started at 2.9117 in 22. We went up a little bit, 2.9150 in 23. And then last year we went up just a tad, 2.9155. This year, our growth in assessed valuation was, I want to be accurate, 7.49% increase. CPI, the Consumer Price Index, was 2.9%. So the Hancock Amendment says that you can go up to 5% increase or CPI, whichever is lower. So we have to use the 2.9% Consumer Price Index in the calculation for our operating fund tax rate. That caused us to need to go down to 2.8450 in Fund 1. Oh, sorry, that's okay. If we jump to Fund 2, we zero out at the end of each month because we only put enough money in there to pay teachers in Fund 2. So that's zero across the board. And we have unlimited transfer from Fund 1 to Fund 2 to get that job done. Debt service, you can see over the past 3 years, 2022 is when we passed the no tax increase bond issue. Saved 44 cents for 3 years, and then this year what the proposal is to take that slight reduction in Fund 1 and not transfer it over. And reduce the maximum tax rate that we can set in Fund 3 a little bit down to 0.4605 cents, and I'll cover that a little more thoroughly in just a second. And then if we go to Fund 4, we've been at 5 cents for the past 3 years. I think it's important with Prop SG starting to come to a close, all the new facilities that we have, the fact that we've made a maximum fund transfer from Fund 1 to Fund 4 over the past 2 years, I think it's important to place a little more money there. So I am proposing that we increase that from 5 cents to 10 cents. And then One more. Yeah. Total tax rate down at the bottom, there will be an overall no increase to the tax rate. It would remain the same at 3.4055. Next. So if we look at the history of debt service, there's a tax rate ceiling so that we do a calculation for the operating fund. We also do a calculation for the debt service fund. And that calculation takes into account the district's debt, the assessed valuation, because we have to be able to pay our debt. So our ceiling in 2022 was 0.4567. We rolled that back to 44 cents. Our ceiling in 23 was 0.4464. We rolled that back to 44 cents. Our ceiling last year was 0.5068. We rolled that back to 44 cents. This year our ceiling is 0.4742, and the proposal is to roll that back to 0.4605 from the tax rate ceiling. So that's a rollback of 0.0137. I think as I was looking at that, the 2022 was similar, 0.0167. So a similar rollback to that year as well. So here's our challenge. The collection rate is 100%, is how we calculate it. Most districts, as I was going through school, you calculate a 94 and 95% collection rate in most districts. Given the fact that we have a significant tax protest in our community, Dr. Fleeg started anticipating that and changed our collection rate. I think the first year she did it, she was somewhere in the neighborhood of high 60% collection rate. And then as we identified the money that came in and the actual revenue that we received, she adjusted it to 63%. And we've been at 63 or 64% over the past 4 years. You can see in 2022, we budgeted for a 64% collection rate, and that's $18.1 million. You can see we came in at 63%, so we kind of blew our budget out of the water. We didn't collect as much money then. So you can see in 2023, we rolled that back to 63%, collected 18.6 projected, actual was 18.9, so about $300,000 more. Kept it the same in 2024, and we were right on the money in 2024. So the proposal in the budget that I created for you was at 64%, and that's $20.7 million. I just covered all this. I put neat boxes in there, but
couldn't keep up.
And so that brings us to why we have to have a 64% collection rate. That's because over the past 4 years, we've had some significant tax protests. Currently, there's about $36.5 million sitting in escrow due to those protests. The district would have quite a few more options related to tax rate if this money were coming into our revenue stream. And I think Dr. Fleeg committed to, the board is committed to, if this was resolved, if we were receiving this money, we would reduce the tax rate to as much as legally possible. As I look at this, I think about 4 years ago when we went out for that $20 million bond issue, and I see $36 million sitting in escrow. We're paying interest on the $20 million that we borrowed to get these facilities projects done. That would free up a lot of interest. That would free up a lot of options for the district should this get settled. So then for tax rate comparison, we always put these together. You don't need to click on them. I've got them in the following slides. We do residential, commercial, and agricultural. Go forward. There's going to be really nothing of substance in these because the proposed tax rate is staying the same. But if you look at a $250,000 home, the residential assessment rate is 19%. That gives the estimated value at $47,500. The proposed tax rate at 3.4055. The estimated tax bill will be $1,617.61 last year as well as this year. So no change. If you go to agricultural, we looked at the same $250,000 at 12% agricultural assessment rate. That's $30,000 assessed valuation, 3.4055 tax rate brings the estimated tax bill to $1,021.65. And then for commercial, same $250,000, 32% assessment rate, That's an $80,000 estimated tax bill. With our tax rate applied, that's $2,724.40. So no change on any of those from the prior year. We always like to look at surrounding school districts of similar size, mostly. I didn't include all of the MAAA schools on here because some are significantly smaller. But I do think it's important that we look around at our fellow school districts and see their tax rates, where we are. We traditionally have been down in the lower fourth of that list, and quite honestly pretty proud of what we can do with that tax rate, the facilities that we have, what we're able to pay our faculty and staff. And so this is really too small to see. Go ahead. Oh, okay. So are there any questions related to overall tax rate proposal? My thought in leaving it at the same, there's an option to roll the debt service levy back to the 44 cents rather than increasing it 0.0205 to keep our overall tax rate the same. My thought kept going back to a big picture. We do have a lot of debt service. We do have a lot of debt that we're paying back. This board approved $1 million prepayment last year, and that prepayment is getting ready to go into effect. This increases that amount in debt service by about $126,000. Over time, we would be able to do another prepayment, save on interest. So big picture is where I kept falling. And if we're able to save the taxpayers money on interest that we have to pay in the future, and we're not increasing the tax rate's staying the same, I think it's worth leaving where it is so that we can open those opportunities up to make some prepayments. Our biggest challenge moving forward is going to be land. We need to seriously start looking at purchasing some land because we're landlocked in town. And I hear, depending on the day, sometimes I hear from multiple school buildings about how big their classes are. And the middle school's growing there for, I think, 25, Dr. Mercer, is that where we are roughly? Our in-town elementary, I mean, we just added a bunch of space there, and Dr. Gegg is already looking at, well, we're going to have to fill some of that up next year because we've got this class moving into that class, 5 teachers to 4. So she's already planning in her head on what she's going to have to do. And we added all that new space. So we need to seriously start looking at some facilities and some land acquisition as we move forward. I just think this puts us in a better position to do that.
Just once the taxpayers know, in a few months when they get their tax bill, it's higher. It's not because of us.
Right.
It's for other things.
Our rates stay the same.
Right.
Our rates stay the same. Assessed valuations went up this past year.
Yeah.
And some other taxes that are coming on the books.
It's not us. That's right.
But assessed values went up. Just to be clear, that doesn't mean your taxes will go up by the same percentage because we're limited by that CPI.
Right. Yeah. CPI was at 7.9, and I'm sorry, assessment increased for our county by 7.9. CPI is at 2.9, and we're limited. That's why we had to reduce that Fund 1 amount.
This takes those pennies that were in Fund 1 and put some of them in debt service in order to pay off debt earlier and some in capital projects.
I think we have to be careful and not think about this as a transfer. I think we have to have our operating fund as a separate unit. And the calculation for what your operating fund can be is one calculation, and that tells us that we have to reduce that operating fund by 0.0205. Then the debt service calculation is completely different. And the debt service ceiling 47, if you can go back to that slide. About 4 more. Yeah, there it was. That debt tax rate ceiling for debt service is 0.4742. That's what this board could make our tax rate in debt service. The proposal is to roll it back 0.0137, which would take it to 0.4605. So operating fund is reducing by 0.0205. And then because of what our ceiling is in debt service, that is actually increasing by 0.0205, evening out the overall tax rate. It's difficult not to think about it as a transfer because it's the same amount. But yeah, those calculations are completely different.
I think when we went to the, way back when we started, I mean, when we went for other, fund issues, or the tax levy, we told the people, we told them what we were gonna do, and we promised that's what we were gonna do. And I honestly feel that that's one of our, I don't know, I can people will now that, why did we pass them? Because we are honest. Whatever we say we're gonna do, we'll do. It could have been said in a lot better words.
No, that was good. And if you, I mean, this is the perfect slide for that comment because, you know, in 2022, we said no tax increase bond issue. The board had the ability to raise the next year, it was 0.4464, rolled it back to 44. The next year, 0.5068, rolled it back to 44. That CPI calculation really limits us this year and causes us to reduce operating. So that is going up 0.0205. The overall tax rate staying the same. And that is the only way that I would consider doing that because of that tax rate staying the same. As Mr. Bosler mentioned, there are some other factors this year, assessed valuations going up in our community that are playing a role too. So it was important that that stay where it is.
I just want to reiterate your point about lowering the tax rate as low as possible. If other taxing, if everyone paid their real estate taxes, the state law is 275. So that's the absolute lowest we could go, and I would be committed to something like that if all things else equal. So
absolutely. And you know, it would sure be nice to reduce some of our overall debt, not have some of the overall interest that we have. That would free that money up to do other things with. We would have to ask our community for less money. So I think it would help everyone in our community overall.
That 36 million that's sitting there could easily accomplish what Mr. Gettiger mentioned. It could affect the debt service rate, even though I think that's important to leave at a certain level. Free lunches, higher teacher pay. I mean, those are all things that it would have to be talked about, but if that money would come into our coffers, it could all be talked about.
Absolutely.
you know, lower the taxes on every single property owner, not
While
just.
accomplishing that.
Yep.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for Dr. Taylor? Anyone from the audience? Nothing left is to adjourn the tax rate hearing.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the 2025 tax rate hearing of the St. John County R2 School District and transition to the regular open session.
I have a motion to second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, we'll move into open session and begin with the pledge of.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item is approval of the agenda.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is the MSBA monthly report.
We changed the opening picture on the slideshow, and I just kind of wanted to point out, just love this picture. It was a great day. Everybody showed up to view the Early Childhood Center. So.
Welcome to the August edition of the Missouri School Boards Association's Board Report. We begin with a look at how the signing of Senate Bill 68 into law will affect Missouri school districts. The legislation, which takes effect on August 28th, marks a major milestone in Missouri's commitment to school safety. CES's Chief Operating Officer John McDonald says that while meeting the requirements of this law may take some work, CES is here to help every step of the way.
We at CES had the opportunity to collaborate on what became Senate Bill 68. And we're incredibly grateful for that opportunity. Our voice was heard. We appreciate that. The voice of school safety professionals across the state was heard. We're pretty excited about where it's going, but we know there's going to be a ton of work ahead for us at the Center for Education Safety, including all of the training that now has to be done. You know, there was a misconception out there that this bill would cost school districts a lot of money. It does not. It takes some time. It'll take some effort, but the effort is worth it, and the time is well spent.
Many districts have already contacted CES asking about what they should purchase to meet the new requirements. John has some simple advice.
What I'm sharing with everybody here is don't buy a thing. You're getting a lot of calls from vendors right now who are telling you that you need to buy their product to be in compliance with Senate Bill 68, and it's just not true. Most of Senate Bill 68 has very little cost to school districts. The cost is in the effort. The cost is in the time to get your team ready to go to be more prepared. It is not a huge monetary cost. And those monetary costs that are in the bill don't come online for a couple of years. So throughout Senate Bill 68, we tried to find ways to enhance foundational aspects of school safety that don't cost a lot of money.
In addition to doubling the number of school safety academies to meet demand, the CES team will be delivering new updates and key training in new ways as well.
We are launching a webinar series, Lunch and Learns. We'll get into specifics about a certain aspect of the bill that's critical for schools to know. It's not just school safety people that should be listening or watching us. Our administrators, even our boards, our superintendents. I understand your time is limited, your time is valuable, but this is a big bill. And, I come from a place where I've learned over the course of my career that at the end of the day, in the aftermath of crisis and tragedy, you'll either have to justify what you've done or you'll have to justify what you didn't do.
To learn more about Senate Bill 68 and upcoming safety trainings, visit the MSBA website and watch the weekly for updates. Also, make sure that your safety teams receive the safety weekly emails from the CES team. John covered so much important information that we couldn't fit it all into the board report, so visit the MSBA website or the MSBA YouTube channel to see the extended interview with John. CES is also proud to co-sponsor MSBA's AI in Education Symposium Wednesday, October 22nd in conjunction with the MSBA Annual Conference in Kansas City. MSBA's Director of Digital Initiatives, Mark Henderson, says that the event has something for everyone regardless of your AI expertise or experience level.
AI is transforming education right now. Are you prepared to lead the changes in your district? At this one-day event, we'll explore how AI supports learning and how school leaders like you can lead with confidence. We'll kick off with Kim Carr, co-founder and executive director of Digital for Good and I Can Help, a nationally recognized leader in digital wellness and online safety education. Then you'll experience expert sessions led by practicing educators, technology professionals, legal experts, and student voices covering AI implementation in classrooms, cybersecurity, policy development, career readiness, and more.
Registration is open now for the AI in Education Symposium, as well as the MSBA Annual Conference in cooperation with the Missouri Association of School Administrators and the Missouri Association of School Business Officials. The conference will be held on October 23rd through the 25th in Kansas City. The event will once again feature numerous breakout sessions and workshops, many presented by school leaders from districts throughout the state, the Education Expo, and another great lineup of general session speakers. And it's not too late to register for MSBA's fall regional meetings this September. The topic is Phones and Funds, tackling today's tough school policy and finance issues. Held across all 17 regions, these meetings provide a great opportunity to connect with fellow school leaders, receive important updates, and participate in regional discussions that impact your local district. Visit the MSBA website to register for your region's meeting. That's it for this month. Thanks for allowing us to have some time at your board meeting, and we'll see you in September for the next MSBA Board Report.
Before we move on, I received a text today from a parent of a middle school student who said the phone policy must be working because my daughter didn't know that Taylor Swift got engaged.
Oh,
I said it must be working.
I just found out.
Found out.
I'd like to say something about that meeting. I was at a meeting in July, and John was there, and they had their little bus-like thing that they got going, and they showed us some of the stuff, but I was able to tell them that we had the drone. They were excited about that, and they were working on that. But I'm sure it's a lot more sophisticated now, but I said, we have one, and I said, it's pretty good.
We're going to have some video coming up from the drone I think you might enjoy.
Thank you. The next item is the consent agenda.
I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda items as presented.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have public participation. I do not have any cards.
Nor do I.
And report of superintendent.
Thank you again. Kind of want to take a moment to talk about the first day of school. Dr. McLeod is going to talk about our professional development back to school activities. I was able to make it out. I started the day at the Early Childhood Center, of course. And it's pick up and drop off is a work in progress. It's never been done before, and being able to be here the first day that this building is open and seeing kids come in, whether they're happy or whether they're a little upset about it, it's really something special. So my day started out here, and like I said, it was really special. I was able to make it out to Bloomsdale, St. John Elementary, the middle school, the high school. It was really a good first day of school, and quite honestly, it's been a good first week. Out at bus duty, watching the new bus parking lot configuration with buses dropping off and picking up. We have a lot of good things going on. If we could just find some more land, I think we'd be in good shape. But we have a lot of good things going on. The planning that went into this building, the elementary with all of their new configuration, and obviously the planning in the middle school, high school, and Bloomsdale is just a tremendous amount. So our administrative teams have done a fantastic job. Teachers have been in working. I like to take a walk every day during the summer, get out of the office and get some steps in, and there have been teachers in all summer working in their classrooms. There's been a lot of movement, just a really different energy a lot of the places. So it's been a great start to the school year. Before I get started, I think, Dr. Boyd, do you have a couple students that would like to say something, or are you going to say something?
I have with me, I saw Mr. Gosler light up when I walked in the room with my goodies when I came in, but I have Hallie and Claire who are here to present your yearbooks from last school year. So they're Mrs. Harlow's yearbook class, and would like to thank you guys for just continuing this course. So thank you guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. While these girls are handing these out, I'd like to let everybody know, just in case you all don't know, that Bounce is given free sodas or coffee or iced coffee. If you want to get that. To the teachers. Our administrator, just have your back. Yeah.
Is it this week, Martha? Is it
This
this week?
This week, yes.
Go ahead. First up on the superintendent's report is professional development back to school. Dr. McClard.
Yes, I was looking at our spreadsheet of new hires. I think this may be the most we've had, and at least as far back as the spreadsheet goes. So we kicked it off with quite a few new teachers. Our focus has been who is St. Genevieve, and that's all the you need to knows, and hopefully most of it sticks, but it's always every year the feedback is it's a whirlwind, and I'm glad I have a mentor that I can go back to and touch base with. Safety was also another piece of it. We covered our Crisis Go app and some of our mandatory reporting, and then instruction. That was some feedback that we've got in previous years, trying to give them a little bit more time to access materials and talk about what do I do on week one. And while we are at it, since we have such a big group and a diverse group, I tried to, on that last day, kind of split them up based on kind of their categories. So we had a big group that was a behavior group, so they focused on classroom management and escalated behaviors. We had a brand new group that kind of went off on their own, and then we had some that were new to St. Gen, but not new to teaching, so they were able to kind of look at some different things that they need as far as their classroom resources. And then we had another group that was early childhood centered that got to spend some time with Dr. Ketting on one day. So I think that was a great day for them to be able to maybe specialize a little bit more as well. Our back to school PD centered around mainly 5 areas. We try to break up as much as we could to address all the different needs. That's always a goal. Sometimes that's difficult with everybody's different specialties, but our district-wide keynote was on culture, and it was delivered by Jason Jadamski. I was able to get in contact with him through Tyson Roth. He suggested another speaker, and then that speaker helped hook me up with Jason, who was part of his group. It was well received. We were able to do some breakouts that were maybe a little unorthodox to what we were used to, and everybody, faculty and staff, were able to participate. We also continued our competency-based education expansion, so we brought in a national speaker, Kara Vandis, and she talked about mastery moments, and she provided some time and some examples of how to deepen that by providing clarity for students. And then instructional strategies in core areas. We try to provide some items in Tier 1 instruction for math and ELA and science. And we also brought in an AI expert that was on our MSBA report, and he was able to talk to our staff as well. We also focused on behavior and safety. We were able to provide some training thanks to Mr. Schnabel and Dr. Huffman. They were able to provide some of the MANT training, and I think Dr. Ketting actually was able to do that as well, so we appreciate them. And our SROs were able to lead some ALICE training with our elementary teachers as well. And then finally, we try to build in as much as we can collaboration and data planning and time for them to work as groups. That's always the feedback that we get. Can you give me some more of that time? So as we get together throughout the year and start to look at back to school next year, that again will be the focus. How do we build in that time for them to get down into it? But yeah, our results are still coming in. The survey hasn't closed, but overall the results are very, very good. There were a few items that I think our PD team can take and use for next year, but overall our results were good.
I talked to a few teachers that week, and they seemed happy, and a
Good.
few of them said it was the first PD breakout where they had sweat so much. I think they're
Yeah.
just working out.
Yeah, he had them moving. He originally told me that he wanted seats up front and then space to work in the back. And I got in there and automatically he said, move the seats to the side, and then they never used the seats. So he had them moving. That's all I have. I'm sorry.
I don't know what.
That's all I have for PD.
Do you guys have any
Yeah,
questions
yeah.
for Dr. Moore?
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, so during the PD day,
I didn't cover.
Ken Jones brought a bus up and had a section of time where it was come drive a bus. And everybody I harassed so many people to go down and drive a bus. I think I got probably 6 or 8 people to go down and drive it. And they had a ball. It's not about we want everybody to drive a bus. We want them to experience it so they can share it, maybe out on social media, and maybe, there's a retiree in the community who sees it, and we might get a part-time bus driver or a bus driver from that. So this is a little video Bailey took of that.
And Dr. Taylor talked about rounding people up. At the end, Ken had to turn people away. Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
I think Dr. Boyd got to experience driving it. Yeah.
What's the experience? I did okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Ken mentioned there were a couple rock stars. And, it's not like the old days when we were growing up and it was a stick shift and all of that. They're automatic, the seats adjust, anybody can drive it. So it was really fun. Next on the superintendent's report is the annual determination of IDEA. We meet the requirement and purposes of the IDEA. The 10 categories are SPED audit findings, timely accurate data, graduation rate, dropout rate, assessment participation, assessment proficiency, disproportionality, initial evaluation timelines, Part C to Part B transition timelines, and secondary transition planning. We received 4 out of 4 again this year. So congratulations, Dr. Drury and our SPED team. In your packet, you will find a link to the handbooks. They're pieced together. Some of them are PDF. Some of our buildings have gone web-based, and so you'll have a link in there and be able to access that. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Next item is unfinished business, and I believe we have a protest sheet update.
So we haven't really done much since the last meeting. A punch list was on the agenda from our last meeting with the architects and KRJ and Brockmiller. You can go ahead. So every month there are pictures left over from the prior year. And if you see where we were a year ago, sharing pictures with you to where we are today, it's pretty striking. And these are some pictures of our little ones in our early childhood center. Pretty special place. Stop for just a second. So Bailey tries to get a student to come in with a GoPro and kind of show from a student's perspective what it might be looking like. I think the first day we ran into a little snafu. Preschool kiddos are a bit different than kiddos that are a little older. But was it Lucy? Lucy Elders kindly agreed to, it was on a stick the second time, right? She held a GoPro on a stick. So this is a video of her coming into the early childhood center.
Good morning, Lucy. How are you? Like, good morning!
Bailey had to speed it up. She takes little steps. And I think Lucy took it upon herself to take it around and show you little areas in the classroom. And then the next slide, I wanted to come out and get some video of drop-off and pickup because there's been some significant discussion about traffic and concerns about traffic. From day one, I was pleasantly surprised. I know 9th Street is still, in progress down there, but our city and the pavers have done a fantastic job getting to the point where we are currently, and the roads that are done are fantastic. We are really happy with those. So this is a video of drop-off and pickup. Started about 7:30 with the video. And if you'll watch the entryway to the Early Childhood Center, you'll see some little ants coming out to meet the kiddos at the cars, escort them back in. I'm sorry? Yeah. There's just one bus that comes in. Yeah. This was Thursday. It helped that it cooled off, for Thursday morning too.
Feels like your lot's pretty big too.
Yes, I expected the lot to be more full. Really pleasantly surprised with the entire process.
No, so I know at Bloomsdale they have a couple designated spots for drop off for the pre-K. Is that like the 8 of them there for pre-K, or is it just? So I think the parents have to walk them in there.
There are a couple that come in that back door over there on the right, that straight sidewalk to the right there. There are a couple teachers that will come out and meet some students out there. Is that still going on, Bethany? Yeah, just a couple. And I think you even mentioned now that we're in the second week, they're pulling up. The kiddos are getting out of the car and coming in. Once they learn how to do it.
The drop-off isn't necessarily having to walk back to the store anymore. There's a teacher holding the door, and they just go to that teacher by themselves. And once they get through this door, there's a teacher in the hallway that they go to. So now it's not so much walking them; they're just kind of making the stops. But we have somebody stationed every so often to check on them.
Okay. And then the next video is pickup. And I think we started 2:40.
Yeah, we moved slowly with that back last week. We started about 2:40 because we didn't know how long it would take. And by the end of the week, we were doing about 2:45. Today, I asked all the teachers to hold on till about 2:50. We're trying to get as much instructional time in as we can after nap, and they've started figuring it out, so it's going to get closer and closer to 3 as we.
And this is as far out as the traffic made it. I was really expecting it to curl around and go up the street. It really never. This is as congested as I've seen it.
What is the 2 lines?
One line is 4th grade and one line is 3rd grade.
Great.
I'm sorry.
I knew what you meant.
Middle school, high school brain.
Closer to that.
3-year-olds and 4-year-olds.
How are they getting over to the?
The 3-year-olds are coming out the classroom wing all the way up at the top on the right.
Okay.
So they're not crossing any traffic since they're on the list. And the 4-year-olds come through the building down to what I call like the PAT nursing wing at this door right here.
Okay.
And then they just cross through that one little spot there and go into the middle and load.
And there's a teacher that walks them across.
And do they just come out when they're called, or are they lined up ready to
We've
go?
like recreated what the elementary uses, but in a Google Doc, so it's not a paid system or anything. I just have a line for threes and a line for fours, and I go out into the animal and the bottom.
Bethany's down at the bottom checking in with the cars.
No, I just type in Google Docs. I have a line for threes, and I click which teacher it is. I have a line for fours, and I click which teacher it is, and then they come out in that order. And we reset it every day.
Okay. Where we were a year ago at St. Genevieve Elementary. Any questions about the Early Childhood Center? You want to talk about that some more? That was pretty fun. Significant progress. You'll see the parking has been completely reconfigured. We sat down and took a picture like this of what it used to look like. We were right at 88 parking spots. When we added the wall, along with the parking over there on the far right, up by the middle school parking lot, and then reconfigured what we call the high school parking lot to just 2 rows of parking. If you'll recall, it was diagonal before, and that lane was really, really narrow. So now we went to 20-foot parking spaces that are straight with a 25-foot drive lane. We're up to 120, a few more than 120 parking spots. And if you go out there at any point in time during the school day, it's half empty. So for those training days where teachers come in from Bloomsdale, for those days when teachers are out for training and we have a bunch of subs on campus, the first 2 weeks tell us we should have parking for them.
Is there anything else?
I don't think so. Any questions about St. John Elementary?
Dr. Gig, has pickup and drop off been okay at the elementary also?
I believe so. I think it's still very crowded. We have a lot of students that access the Ridgeline in the afternoon, but I don't think it's interfered with the early childhood traffic at all. We started Dragon's Den on the first day of school, so I think that's very helpful because I think right now we have like 85 students signed up for our after-school Dragon's Den. So could you imagine if we would have added that many more students to our car line? So I think for the most part, we've been pretty successful at getting them through. It's still taking us a while, but we're shaving off time each day. Has there been any issues with parents having to pick up at multiple buildings and timing it?
We talked about that before the school year got started, and it was one of those things where, well, we're just going to have to figure it out, and you're going to have to figure out whether you want to sit in line for Bridge and pick them up first and then work your way over here or vice versa. Bethany, do you know of...
I really encourage all the families to come to us first because we're not really too near as many as Dr. Geck does. So it has worked out, I believe. We have all of our parents out of here by 3. And then that line is still kind of looped around. They just pull straight out and they go down, turn around and get in that line. And that line's still operating. It's not like they're late to get to you.
So before the school year, we sat down with our resource officers, Officer Clark and Officer Cusinelli, as well as Chief of Police and Officer Pollock. They all came in, we sat down, we talked about stop signs, number 1, flow of traffic. Chief committed to having his morning officers come up here and help out with traffic and keep an eye on things. And then we agreed to get together in 2 weeks and talk about what it looks like. And if we could make any changes. I know Officer Cusinelli has been in the afternoon at Bridge pickup, and he has some ideas already that he's putting together that could help. But it's been great partnering with them. As I come through, the line does go around the corner and down the street. But from what I've seen, the majority of driveways have been open. People have been making progress around. There's a stop sign coming up now, so they do have to wait. And there's a stop sign coming up from Virginia. Coming out of the Early Childhood Center, they added a no left-hand turn sign, so you can't just automatically get in the Bridge line coming from the Early Childhood Center. And I've seen a parent go out, turn around, and then come back and get in line, pick up over there. So it's a work in progress, but I hope to get together with Chief and our SROs and get some feedback and what we can do to improve this situation.
so far this configuration is working?
From what I've seen, I haven't been up here like city officers have been up here, but from what I've seen, it seems to be working okay.
Out here?
Yeah, the first day, we had a couple parents that thought that was our line, and they waited in it. And then when they got up here, they pulled on in, and they were like, man, is this line always gonna be this? I said, I think you were in the elementary line. Our line doesn't even leave our parking lot. But once they figured that out, it hasn't interfered at all. I think there's plenty of room on Maple to get steady, like with that line, and still steady traffic going both ways. I haven't heard any complaints.
That's the location of the St. John Wrestling Facility. We are waiting on 2 final value engineering items to come through before they can break ground. But it's substantially bid, and there are a couple items that we're waiting on to get final numbers on. So that's Prop SG.
Sir.
You're welcome.
Any questions for Dr. Taylor? All right, on to new business. And the first item is the summer 2026 mission debt period.
The mission dead period requirements for summer are 9 consecutive days in length, begin on a Saturday and last through the second following Sunday. First allowable practice is Monday, August 10th. So Dr. Nix put together a letter that you have in your packet, and he would like to set summer mission dead period for August 1st through Sunday, August 9th, 2026.
Thank you. That's the word.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2026 MSHSAA mission debt period for activities to be Saturday, August 1st, 2026 through Sunday, August 9th, 2026.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is the adult food service prices.
Mrs. Meyer-Roth was finally able to calculate these prices. We've been waiting on DESE to release some information, and you'll see down at the bottom there in red, these did not change from last year. Breakfast for adults is $2.15, and lunch for adults is $4.37.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the adult food prices for the 2025-2026 school year as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Those voices go right behind you. The next item on the agenda is to set the tax rate. Discussion, anybody? Any discussion, any comments?
Make a
motion to set the operating levy at $2.8450, the debt service levy at $0.4605, the capital projects levy at $0.1000, for a total levy of $3.4055 for the 2025-26 school year.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Any personnel changes approved during closed session this evening will be provided in draft meeting minutes within 72 hours of adjournment. And all I need to adjourn. I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all.